and whatever comes our way. Hey, yeah, driving gonna make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fire all of the guns at once and we'll explode into space like a true nature child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high, never wanna die. Born to be wild. Born to be wild. One, two, three,
All right, welcome back to Full Throttle TV and the Blackwater Products USA Truck Series. I'm Dean Doucette. In the booth with me, Brad Patterson. Brad, we're at Las Vegas, baby.
Oh yeah, you know, the chips may be stacked in some people's favor, but at the end of the day, we're just gonna have to roll the dice and see what happens. You know, the puns are gonna be deep here at Las Vegas, and we're gonna have one heck of a night full of good racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone's going to push them all into the middle, Brad, and go for it. And, you know, let's get it right into it and look into our championship standings, because we've got some different names up here. Claude Ferland, one of our rookies, leading the way with 101 points. Michael Blackner in second. He had that big win early in the year. He's got 94 points. Lane Allen tied for second with 94. Jared Carr with a big win last week, 93 points. And Troy Torgenson's in fifth. Then you got Mannix Richer, Kevin Rupert, Sylvain Jolly, Gerald Daniels, and Richie Coy, followed by Rob Shoemaker. We've got 7 rookies in the top 11 there, Brad.
Oh yeah, I mean this rookie class has been a very impressive class, and you know they're sitting there and they're trying to do a little bit of changing in the guard, but you know what? We had Daytona, we had a road course. You know, we're starting to really get into the meat and potatoes, the mile and a half. That what's going to bring these people to the forefront, and it's going to be very interesting to see if the rookies are going to be able to withstand what these veterans have, you know, coming for them.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of veterans as we look back. You know, you got Hanna, Cooper Jr., McCanny. You got Nearad, not a veteran, but a threat nonetheless. Brian Bliss back there, Loomis. You got Helm, last year's champion in 22nd. Casey McMullen, a former champion, 23rd. Zach McDaniel, a guy who can dominate races in 24th spot. So, I mean, Williford's back here. You keep scrolling back, we find more names. Bobby Terrell sitting in 31st spot. Joe Flanagan, Jason Spear back 37th, 38th. This is incredible stuff, Brad.
It really is. And, you know, there's some big names towards the back of the field, but at the same time, you know, we look back and there was a couple of drivers that did not make that road course. So these standings could be a little bit inflated from the guys that were able to compete in all 3 races.
Yeah, they could be a little inflated. It's hard to say for sure, but I don't think you're seeing any inflatedness out of our points leader there, Claude Ferland, as he shows on top of the board, Brad.
Oh no, absolutely. He's done a great series. You know, he's had one top 5 finish. That was at Daytona on the Super Speedway. He's had 2 top 10s so far. He's able to lead himself a lap. Very clean so far, very fortunate. And remember, at Daytona, he was the guy that started from the pits. You know, he came from 1 lap down. He was the only car a lap down. And then, you know, caution came his way. He was able to get himself back in the lead lap. And he really was able to finish with a very strong position. And he's just been very well and very rounded so far. So I'm really looking forward to see what exactly he has on this mile and a half.
You know, that's a great point, too. He did start way back there, and look what he's done since. And he keeps showing week after week that it's no fluke. He again, fastest in practice here. Last year's champion, Helm, second on the board right now. And I see Russell Chernesky out here. Unbelievable. The 20 making his return to the track. Man, am I happy to see that, Brad. I was going to give him a big shout out tonight. Matter of fact, I was going to do it last week and forgot. You know, Russell battling some medical issues, some real perilous times for him, and couldn't be happier to see him on the track. Wow, this is fantastic news.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a nice stable to see a genuinely great driver, and more importantly, just, a good person overall. And, we definitely wish him the best with all of the struggles that he's currently going through.
Yeah, and we look on the board here. You got Terrell, McDaniel, Torgensen, Person. These are some big names here. Some of the faster ones in practice as they look to make up that point deficit that they're in. This is going to be a heck of a battle tonight.
It really will. And, speaking of the points deficit, we're currently on race 3, so there's a lot on the line here. So after this race, the first 3 races here, we've been reverted to last season points as far as the charter system, and we're talking about the guys locked into these races. The top 20 have been locked in. After tonight, it's going to revert to the new top 20, and you may find some individuals that have been locked in for these first races. That's not going to be the case.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You don't know who's going to be locked in, and with more than a full field at times, it's going to be tricky to qualify your way in. Right now, tonight, we're showing 41 drivers, so I think only 40 making the field, Brad. It could be one man out tonight. As we look in on our keys to the race, we got the draft, pit stops, and tires. Now, the draft, a little bit tricky here. It's going to be full throttle around this track. I don't think the draft is overly prevalent, but it's going to be some pack racing, especially for that first 20 laps or so, and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out. We'll have to wait and see. Pit stops, we're expecting, this is a full throttle sim racing, Brad. We're expecting more green flag running, which is going to allow for these pit stops, which, tires wouldn't come in if we do happen to get some cautions. They've only got 4 sets in the garage. Or is it 3? I think 3 sets in the garage. So tires could be highly important if those cautions do come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do have a total of 4 sets. So the set that they're going to be running on the start, then 3 in the garage. And then on top of that, we do know this is a 100-lap feature, if you will, 150 miles. We estimate that these cars can go anywhere from 40 to, or I should say about 44 to 47 laps. So we do know this is a two-stop race. Definitely going to be in the green flag, at minimum a stop and a splash, if you will. So it's going to be very interesting because there could be some strategy, especially with that draft like you were talking about. Somebody might be able to save. I'm just not sure that they'd be able to save enough to make it on one stop.
Yeah, it'd be very tricky. I mean, we know guys like Casey McMullen are capable of it. We bring him up; he's a big strategist. But we're word around the garages is being pushed to drive a little more aggressive and drop some of those strategies, and we'll see which way he decides to go tonight. But right now, I want to take it to a commercial. We got Bristol Dirt, folks, on tap for the Cup cars. I think the trucks are going to be running there as well. And here it is, little debut action of the Bristol Dirt. man, did that look good, Brad? You know, Bristol Dirt, wasn't a fan of it. Think it's a little gimmicky, to be honest with you. But watching those cars go around that track, man, they look like they're running really well. Could be a lot of fun out there.
Oh man, it really does. It looks very interesting. I'm not gonna lie, being as that I am a member of the FTSR league with the A car, just like you are with these Cup cars. This is going to be a challenge that I'm looking forward to. At the same time, a little apprehensive because it looks very intimidating. But boy, is it going to be fun figuring it out.
Yeah, it's really going to be a lot of fun figuring it out. As we watch Bobby Terrell there pulling off. Here's Andrew Pilecki running his qualifying lap. We look at the board. It's Troy Torgensen to the top of the board. Ferland in second and Royal in third. Brody Hanna up there in fourth and Bernard Person fifth. Interesting board as Ferland continues to show that he's no fluke up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're seeing a lot of the rookies a little bit further back than most would expect. Casey McMullen going to the front of the pylon there. Excellent showing from them. But you know what? Russell Charneski, this is going to be his first race back. And, it's good to see him in the top 10 as well so far.
It really is. Going to be rooting for that 20 heavy tonight, Russell Charneski. But Casey McMullen, wow, how impressive from him. We haven't seen that out of him in quite a while on, possible pole here for the 71 as we watch Randall Ballard take some laps around here for his qualifying effort.
Yeah, and I talked to that 71 to Casey McMullen earlier before this race started, and he was very confident in his truck. He's saying that he really thinks he's got something for him tonight, and obviously wheeling that thing around this track and deciding to put it up front on that pole so far, provided it sticks, he may very well have something, as a lot of his teammates are starting to populate the top 15 as well.
See Ballard there. I'm not sure. Ballard coming in 36, so going to be a struggle for him tonight. But it looks like qualifying about wrapped up.
It's going to be very interesting because right now you got Tony Solar, the final truck. He has not put in a qualifying lap as far, and he would be the driver that would not make the field, as it sounds like it has been confirmed he will not make the field as he's disconnected.
Oh, that is so unfortunate. Perhaps crashing during qualifying. Tony Solar will not be in the event tonight. But our last qualifier, Eddie Forstoffer the third, will be in. Rob Shoemaker makes it in. Shoemaker up in the points here. He's got work to do starting back in 39th.
This is one of those tracks, so it's very close. Everybody's going to be doing a lot of drafting, a lot of really tight racing, so they got to really be on their P's and Q's, if you will, and kind of be passively aggressive, because the last thing you want is you could very well get one of those super speedway style wrecks that takes out a lot of cars.
It really could. All right, let's get into our starting order here. Sorry, we hit the wrong button. We'll get that grid up for you. Casey McMullen in the 71, part of Steve Berry Racing, with a time of 30.394. Will be on the pole tonight. Troy Torgensen in the 98 from GT Performance Sim Sports. He'll start second. Claude Ferland, our point leader, will start in third, with Ronnie Royal on the outside of row number 2. Brody Hanna will be in fifth, with Bernard Person in sixth.
Back on the pace car. We're not going green.
Brian Helm will be starting in seventh tonight, with Jared Carr in eighth. Lane Allen will be starting ninth, and Russell Charneski makes his return starting 10th tonight.
Rolling off 11th, it's going to be the 51 of Brandon Elder, followed by Zach McDaniel. Zach, a very good driver here, specialty, if you will, with these trucks. Joe Flanagan's going to roll off 13th. Mannix Richard, another one of our rookies, going to roll off 14th. Stephen Loomis going to roll off 15th. Randy McCanney 16th, followed by the 03 of that Dale Norad. It's going to roll off 17th, followed by Richie Coy, Kevin Rupert, and Terry Cooper Jr. He will round out our top 20.
As we look back, a couple of surprises there. You see 22nd. It's going to be Tim Bills. That's hard to believe. Tim Bills, just such a stellar performer to be starting back there. You got the likes of Hensley back here, another rookie, Gerard Daniels, pretty high in the points. Bobby Terrell's back here, Sherwood Williford. I mean, my goodness, Jason Spear. Some of these names towards the back of the pack are just mind-boggling, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not somebody who qualifies towards the back is that forward Terrell, the 33 is Sherwood, Jason Spear. But you know what? Unfortunate for them on a bad qualifying, but it's going to be really fortunate for us as broadcasters. We get to sit up here and watch them because they're going to be making their way through this field.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's going to be fun to watch that happen. We look in on our pole sitter there, Casey McMullen Sr., driving that Blackwater Products truck there for the Steve Berry Racing, who owns Blackwater Products USA. Please go and support them. Him and his wife, just the greatest of people, really supporting this league. And without them, we couldn't do this. So a big thank you to Steve Berry and Linda. Just fantastic people.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey's one of those drivers that he really likes to play with strategy. Qualifying up front there, I don't think you're going to see him lay off. I think he's going to be pedal to the metal the entire time. So it looks like we're having a little bit of an issue possibly with some connection with our outside pole sitter there in the 98 of Troy Torgerson. Hopefully that'll clear up and won't have any issues with this race.
Yeah, it looked like he had a little problem there, but seems to have settled in. We look through our top four here. See Claude Ferland, our point leader, right in there. But we're about ready to go green here as they delayed it one lap. And a late turnoff from the pace car. McMullen in the 71 going to lead him down to the green flag. Torgensen on the high side. Ferland and Royal chasing. McMullen does a nice job out front. Torgensen trying to put pressure up high, doing a nice job staying in second. That high line, Brad, seems to be running quite well right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a very good run off that high line. You're going to see the 71 of McMullen go to the apron. He's going to be able to cut a little bit of distance out of that track. He will have the preferred line, but look at that 44 of Claude Ferland. He's right down there on the bottom, right on the white line, really being able to make corners. So he's going to have to deal with the 23 of Brody Hanna, already trying to push it, thinking about 3 wide going down that backstretch.
Yeah, very racy these guys are. Really impressed, though, with the 98 riding that high side, really showing you we might have multi-groove racing tonight, or maybe the line's on the high side, but Torgensen doing a great job. McMullen continues to barely hold him off.
Yeah, absolutely. As the 71, Casey McMullen starts to inch his way past the 98, it's going to be able to clear him, I should say, possibly on the exit. He's not going to try to go to the outside, though. He's going to stay right there on the inside. The 44, Claude Ferland, is going to pull right up. He's going to try to fill that gap right there, not let the 98 down, as the 23 is going to be all over the back of the 44.
Yeah, it looks like that bottom line finally prevailing there. Torgensen still not really coming down the track, though. I think he likes it up there. He's going to stay there. Here comes Ferland down on the inside of him. This could be problematic for the 98, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I wasn't expecting this high line to be so good, Brad.
Yeah, that high line's really rolling pretty well, but the one thing that you don't really think about is Ronnie Roll is going to dip down to the bottom and leave him all alone on that top side. Is what's it going to do to your tires? Generally speaking, the bottom lane is a little bit more forgiving as the 44 nearly comes up in the back of the 98 right there. So that's another thing. He's really got to be careful because he can get himself locked on that outside and really have no way in to get down to the bottom until he's 4 or 5 positions back.
You see Hanna going to the highest side. He sees how well it's working. He's going to take it. A little jostling back behind them. I think that's Jared Carr making a move. It is. Jared Carr, last week's winner, Brad. He's on the move already.
Yeah, right now all of these guys think that they're Superman, if you will. They're just full throttle running it through. It's kind of like a speedway truck. But as we go into this run is when it's going to be really going to tell the tale, because we're going to get 10, 15 laps on it. All of a sudden, you're gonna have to start backing off. All of a sudden, you're gonna have to use that brake. You're gonna have to, be a little bit more finesse around these corners. You can't just stick it flat to the floor and turn it left. It won't stick. As you see, the 23 Brody Hanna come up in the second place. He's currently challenging the 71 on the outside.
He's doing more than challenging. He's going to swoop down to the apron here, try and take it. He'll have to watch that coming up the track. Wow, almost contact there. I'm not too sure they didn't touch, Brad.
Yeah, definitely a very aggressive move out of the 23. You got to sit there and think that he knows if he can't get it done right now, he's not going to be able to get it done.
Well, it'll be interesting now. Casey going to the high side, the first time he'll be there. Well, how will he find that high side? Maybe he'll find it to his liking, but I don't know. Ferland on the inside, starting to power through as Brody Hanna is on the point, our new race leader.
Yeah, I think you're going to be looking at the 71 to just kind of fall in line. That's just kind of his MO. He's going to fight to try to lead this thing, but if he can't, he wants to fall in line, maybe set a different strategy, maybe conserve his tires. That's definitely going to be something he's going to be thinking about. I expect him to fall in line right behind this 98 and just kind of log laps now.
Yeah, that's probably what he would do at this point as Brody Hanna leads. It's Ferland in second, Troy Torgensen third, Casey McMullen fourth, Ronnie Royal fifth, Bernard Persson in sixth, seventh is Brian Helm, Jared Carr, Lane Allen, and Russell Cherneski round out your top 10.
And definitely give credit where credit is due. Brody Hanna came from that fifth position, so he's up 4 spots. Looking back through the field, there's not a whole lot of big movers. The next closest person is actually going to be Richie Corey in that 19. He started 18th. He's currently up into 13th, so 5 spots gained there. Terry Cooper Jr. Started 20th up to 14th. So some of these guys really starting to make their way towards the front, and some of them getting a little bit caught up here. Again, I think it's probably one of those deals where they're trying to save a little bit of tire here. As the 98 creeps up and gets very close to that 44 Claude Ferland, you're starting to see some of these tire wears where these guys are starting to push in the center of the corner, which is exactly what's going to happen as these tires wear out.
Yeah, it's getting a little tricky here as this run goes on. Now you got to wonder, is Brody pushing that truck too hard, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to tell because, the 71 looked really good out there, but he had clean air, and now he's a little bit back in traffic. He's having to kind of pedal the truck around the corners. You see it starting to get a little bit lifty on the middle, towards the middle of the corner. So how much of it is clean air versus how much of it is you're just burning up the tires? We'll know in about 9 laps, I think.
The other question is here always fuel mileage. I mean, you guys are racing clean as usual here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. And who knows, as Bernard Persson makes a move, he's starting to assert himself. If he starts marching forward, watch out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, kind of looking back through the field, if you're playing that fuel strategy and you're playing that long run, I don't see anybody that's really off the pace too much. Something obviously happened with Eddie Forrester the third. He's currently about 10 seconds back, and Brian Bliss in that 18, I show him almost 23 seconds back. So obviously something happened to that 18 truck.
Yeah, unfortunate there. We get a look at him, and there's Eddie Forrester. But back up front, this battle rages on. As Brian Helm, our points leader, is starting to, or our last year's champion, I should say, has moved up the track a little bit. Looks like he's found something he's a little more comfortable, a little higher up through 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely a name that we're going to expect to see. Brian Helm, it was only a matter of time before he was going to start making his way forward. We look a little bit further back. We look at the 42, Zach McDaniel, currently in that 10th position. Another one of those guys that really excels in this truck series. Right behind him, you're going to have that good news story of Russell Cherneski in that 20. Followed right behind him is going to be Terry Cooper Jr. Definitely.
Oh, and Zach McDaniel!
Big time impact on the inside with the 14 truck. Caution is out.
Oh, and Lane Allen is destroyed there. Many others. There's Tim Bills in the wall, the 66 catching a piece. Wow.
That's gonna be the end of the night for the 42, for the 14, both of them. They're gonna be done.
That was a heavy, heavy incident. We'll get a look in on that right now. Try and get a little better camera here. So you see here, it's McDaniel low, And Lane Allen on the Coke machine up high. Comes out and he just comes down the track. Doesn't really know thought he was clear there, and heavy damage up the track. And we got the 17 of Steve Loomis, hard impact. That's gonna hurt his night for sure. A few other guys taking some licks there. Wow.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate for those drivers, but what this will do is this will put us in a totally different circumstance, especially when it comes to our fuel strategy. You know, I would have to assume that everybody's going to come to pit road here at lap 15. So this will make it a one-stop race after here.
Yeah, we see everybody on pit road here. And
Yeah,
that's
looks like
exactly why, because it will be one stop from here. Be surprised if anybody stays out.
Yeah, I also see the actually looks like the 18 is going to stay out. The 43 of David Hensley, heavy damage. He's smoking down pit road. Definitely not was what he was looking for.
Yeah, Lane Allen was having such a good points run in this truck series. I mean, nothing intentional there. Just he came down the track. I think he was trying to take his momentum underneath the car in front of him. Had no idea the other truck was there and just turned himself on the nose. Super unfortunate.
It's very interesting to see that the 18 of Brian Bliss, I mean, he was quite a ways back from our leaders, but he actually stayed out on the racetrack.
We got to get a look in at these pit times. Because Casey McMullen with a 7.0, that's a fuel only for the 71. Very interesting. Palicki, no pit stop for Palicki. So there's your two strategy makers, Brad. It's going to be McMullen. Well, Bliss as well, staying out. McMullen with no tires, just gas only. Palicki coming in now. So the two guys there, Brian Bliss. Let's get a look in on Brian Bliss. Yeah, running for Blackwater Motorsports there. So he's those affiliates, Blackwater and Steve Berry Racing. Those two guys, no tires for them and no pit stop at all for Brian Bliss.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're Brian Bliss, you know, you're running about 25 seconds back. I kind of get that. I understand it a little bit. But if you're Casey McMullen, you know, you go into pit road and you're in the top 5. You know, why not take the tires? I mean, especially with the situation where you're going to line yourself up and you know you only have to do one more pit stop. You're coming out with a distinct disadvantage, only taking fuel. You've got 3 sets of tires, you know, no matter what, you have to pit once. So even if you just do whatever, you know, 15, 20 laps, he's going to not be able to flat foot it here in about 5 laps where these other guys are going to have 15 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be scary up front because you got the likes of Brody Hanna in third, Bernard Person, Troy Torgensen, Claude Ferland, Jared Carr, Brian Helm, Terry Cooper Jr., all up here in the top 10. These guys want to move forward, and they want to move forward in a hurry. They're going to be pushing by, and you don't have just one guy, Brad, that's going high or something. We got both lanes blocked by old tires, and this is going to be scary.
Yeah, it'll be very sketchy, especially considering everybody else can just, you know, put it to the floor and be done. So we'll see what we got as the pace car pulls off.
Green, green, green.
As Brian Bliss leads it down, Brody Hanna right on the bumper, McMullen up high with Torgensen behind him.
Yeah, you see it instantly, the 23 and the 98 all over the back. The 23 actually giving that 18 a shot a couple of times. He's going to be all over the back. You got to be very careful here as the 18 goes to the top side. He's going to forego the position to the 23 down on the bottom. That's going to just stack up that top side.
Oh, that top side is in a world of hurt, and they're not going to be happy. They're going to be pushing 3 wide as Torgensen. Oh, a little wiggle. Helms up the track. He's into Bliss. Torgensen. There's a whole gaggle of cars wrecked. My goodness.
We talked about it earlier. You know, when you deal with super speedway type stuff where everybody can just kind of flat foot it and everybody's close together, this is what you can happen. And that's exactly what we just saw. We saw the big one at Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was almost expected after that no tire call. We're going to look in on, see if we can get some angles on that.
I think you'll see some pit stops from the 71 now.
We've seen there the 24 Ronnie Royal down to the apron. He gets a little wobbly. Up on the high side, you got Bliss, and there's Torgensen. Play this out a bit. And then you got Helm just comes up there. Helm washes up the track in a hurry right into Brian Bliss, turns him into the wall. Bliss back down and just carnage. I mean, Coy's in there. There's Charneski. Oh, that's a shame for Charneski there, making his return. There's the 8 of Bernard Persson, the 60. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, look a little further up even. I mean, look at the 23 leading this race, right off the front of the 44, Claude Ferland. He gets a little sideways, gets a little bit on the apron, and maybe that checked the 44 up a little bit, which was just enough for the 26 needing to check up and kind of go a little high. So, I mean, that was just kind of a recipe for disaster, if you will, and everything just kind of happened at once.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what happened. The 23 got loose. The 44, I mean, there was space, but I think Helm seen that in front of him, tried to jump to the high side, and he did it too violently into the 18 of Brian Bliss, and it was on from there. Wow.
I mean, that's one thing these guys got to remember. I mean, tracks like this where you can get away with flat footing it for, a good 10, 15, 20 laps even. You come out of the pit stops and those tire pressures are still not there. You might have to give it a half a lap to be able to really be aggressive. And I think that's exactly what happened with 23. He got in that corner, he was able to take the lead and he was just trying to get everything he could out of it. And the pressure just wasn't there yet.
We see the 60 of Mannix Richet back in the pit road. Part of that incident there. I don't think he's got substantial damage, but enough to come back in and get some more repairs done.
And this will have a dramatic impact on our points. You got Mark Royce currently 6 laps down, Kevin Sargent, Zach McDaniels, Stephen Loomis, Lane Allen, Darren Snyder. Bernard Person's a couple lap down, Terry Cooper Jr. 1 lap down, Sherwood Williford a lap down. Daniel, Spear, Bliss, Carr, all of these drivers now, kind of going behind the 8 ball, if you will.
Williford, Spear, Person, all damaged. Jared Carr, damage to that car. I mean, unbelievable how many trucks are damaged down here. Kevin Sargent.
And don't forget, this race has big implications as far as who makes next week, as far as they're locked in on their points position versus they're not. So some of these drivers were, we saw a guy go home tonight. They could be on the receiving end of that if they're not locked in.
Man, was that some kind of incident? My goodness. I haven't seen that many trucks piled up since the last snowfall in the United States.
I think that was like 3 weeks ago, maybe, Texas.
That's it, Texas. They don't really know how to drive in the snow, let me tell you.
Hey, come on.
Well, being Canadian, we love to get out there and play in it and drive in it. But if you don't have any snow tires, you got nobody plowing the roads and no salt down, it's quite a difficult thing. Nonetheless, Hanna leading and Ferland in second. That's going to allow Helm up to third. Ronnie Royal, Sylvain Jolly, really high up in the points here. He's right up here. Terrell now up 25 spots. Vrooman is up 25 spots. Blackner, Schultz, all these guys up over 20 spots. Jeff Bratton, unbelievable. The carnage has allowed this to happen. We've got 5th through 13th, all up over 20 spots.
And you know what? I think that's really the cutoff right there, where you get the cars that have no damage versus ones that have taken a little bit of damage. Granted, they've been coming in, they've been getting repairs. I know the 77 of Bliss there. He was actually involved in the incident previous to this one, had to go down pit road multiple times to get some damage repaired. So it's going to put in a whole new different feel to this race as far as who's got damage and who's going to be able to stay up front with their aero, let alone with just cars that are driving fast.
This has really changed this race completely. Pace car darts off to the left. Brody Hanna leads him down. Furlong on the high side. Hellman Royal, part of Team Spear Racing, right behind him. They could be on Bandit Racing, actually. Team affiliates there.
Yeah, you see this restart drivers are a lot more spread out. Could be due to damage or just not being able to get to it. Uh, the lead, though, 44 and the 23 of Brody Hanna, still being contested heavily right up front.
Yeah, it's quite a battle there. So let's get a look in on that battle from, say, Ronnie Royal's cockpit here. Maybe we'll go back a little further here to Sylvain Jolly or Stephen Ruman. You can see just how heavy the action is here. We look on from Kenneth Schultz, part of Gladiators of Racing.
And you just see how loose those trucks on the bottom really are. I mean, they're moving around quite a bit going around those speedways.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, there's a lot of movement up there and side-by-side action. It looks like they're playing it fairly calmly right now, though, Brad. Trying to, get this race going after what has been some serious carnage.
Yeah, we saw the big one early here, unfortunately, but that will definitely change the way some of these guys race. I wouldn't be surprised if that 44 actually drops into this and behind the 23. But as I say that, he's going to power by and try to get to the outside of that 23 going into 3.
Yeah, still trying to work that high side, thinking about coming down, but Ronnie Royal's right there. There's no room currently. I mean, it's awful tight there. And you can see, Brad, cutting that apron there through the start-finish line, it does help. It does work, but it's quite dangerous, too. The truck does not like it at all.
Yeah, that's something that's only going to get more dangerous as we go, as the car gets a little bit more slick. As you make that transition from banking to the flat, it's really not coming up. Coming up is pretty easy. It's right there going into it as Ronnie Royal is going to get to the bottom of the 44 of Claude Ferland. And then the other thing you got to worry about is that guy on the outside really going to give you enough room to really let you back in?
Yeah, those are great points. And we're looking at the laps here, Brad. We're on lap 27 of 100. You kind of split that. You're looking around lap 62, lap 64, something like that for pit stops. This might play into Brody Hanna's hands, as he's obviously got a good short run car. We don't know. He might be a good long run too. But to be able to pit after, 30 to 35 laps or something in that area, that could benefit him.
Yeah, it absolutely could. And, somebody else who could definitely benefit is that 71 of Casey McMullen. He's currently in our 8th spot, and we know he stayed out on that last caution, was able to avoid any type of contact in the big melee. But what he did do is come down and top off with fuel, get 4 fresh tires. So he's got the freshest tires. He's got the most amount of fuel out there, and he's currently in the 8th position. So it could be something where he's just going to kind of hang back, try to get to that pit window and make this on one stop.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's in a real hurry here to push the issue and get up here. Just milking that time. I think he's doing the right thing and trying to make, even though he's got the freshest tires, let's wait it out a bit here and get him a lot fresher than everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely. If he runs, if he's got 4 laps fresher tires and he just runs the speed of everybody else through the corners, that means, towards the end of this run, he's going to be significantly faster.
Let's give a little shout out here to the 00 of Stephen Vrooman. He's been having a heck of a season, or actually, it's not him. He's not one of the rookies up there. He's having a good run tonight, Brad. Up 26 spots on the night in 6th place. And, he's really, I'll be honest with you, he's down in the points, so he needs a good night here tonight.
Absolutely. And, that's what the name of the game here right now is capitalize. Capitalize on other people's mistakes or other people's misfortune. Not necessarily that somebody else did something wrong. They just happen to get caught up in somebody else's thing. Well, with this charter system and the top 20 being locked in, that's exactly what you got to do. And it's going to be fluid through this entire season, which is going to make this very interesting as far as who goes home and who makes it in every week.
Right now it's Hanna, Royal, Ferland, Terrell, and Helm in your top 5. And let's talk a little bit about Ronnie Royal here. Ronnie Royal on the 24, usually quite quiet, doesn't get a lot of air time, and that's probably for good reasons. He's out here taking care of his stuff, methodically racing, but he's a threat across any series at any track, Brad.
No, he really is. And, he's been that way the entire season. He's been running very well. Definitely a member of the Spear Motorsports camp or affiliation affiliation with them. Actually, I believe he is Spear. But he's been at the front of these races this entire year, whether it be in the trucks or in the Cup Series or whatnot. Very solid runs, very just, methodically, quietly being right there. So he's having another great run tonight.
He really is. Of course, our points leader, Claude Ferland here in that 44, doing a nice job so far, avoiding all the carnage, staying here in third. And Bobby Terrell, the ever dangerous number 4, has made his way up to fourth from 30th. And don't give him this kind of track position, Brad, unless you want to lose the race, because he's always dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to say he didn't even have to work for it, but this was a gift, essentially. He probably didn't have to pass a good 10, 15 cars, which he would normally would do. I'm not going to say without any issue, but definitely it's one of those things that he'd be working his way through, as he's currently going to set his sights on that third place of that number 44 points leader of Claude Ferland.
He is. Behind him, you got the reigning champion, the 26, Brian Helm. He was involved slightly in that. Kind of like, I wouldn't say he started it, chain reaction, but him and the 18 ended up into each other. And as usual, if you're at the front of the wreck, you usually don't get too much of it. So good for him. He's up to fifth. There's Vrooman. Then you got, of course, Casey McMullen slowly working his way back up here. And he's got those fresh tires, so watch out for him. Dale Nerad in the 03 here, the Oreo machine, part of Bandit Racing. He's looking pretty good in 9th place. You got Sylvain Jolly back here in 10th. Him and Jeff Bratton having a nice run up, 28 spots on the night for the 55.
Then we start getting into the cars that I think probably have a little bit of damage to them, just by, pure luck of sitting there looking at the lap times, looking at the kind of falling off. You're getting people like the one of Kevin Rupert, Eddie Forrester, the third, Rob Shoemaker, Russell Charneski. We know he was involved in an incident earlier. Tim Bells, we know he's got damage. And David Hensley, I'm actually really surprised that truck's even out there on the track. I watched that truck go to pit road smoke, and so hats off to that pit crew, if you will, just to get it contained and be able to get him back out on the track.
Yeah, some of these guys are really going to do their work tonight and earn what they get. What few points they get, they'll be earned. Russell Charnowski here in 19th spot. So with that heavily damaged truck hanging in there, Tim Bell's part of that wheeling and dealing racing team there. He's got David Hensley right on his bumper. And then you got Kelvin Miller is going to be shown. I believe he's off the track right now. So that brings us around. We'll go back up front here where Brody Hanna continues to lead. He's coming in on this pack of Tim Bills, and it looks like the 43 of Hensley sitting there. So they got a little bit of lap traffic here to deal with, Brad.
Yeah, they're going to get that a lot more, especially with the amount of damaged cars in this field. I was just kind of briefly looking over our top 10 in points here, and it looks like the rookies are actually faring a lot better than the veterans here, like we thought. Claude Ferland, currently our point leader, he's still going to be on the lead lap. Richard Mannix is going to be up there. Kevin Rupert, he's going to survive that wreck. Jared Daniels. So a lot of our rookies, if you will, were able to make it through there. Daniels not going to have the night he wanted. He's currently 19 laps down. Sylvan Joy, he's still going to be looking like he's on the lead lap and doing pretty well. Richie Coy, another one of those drivers that aren't going to have the night that they were looking for originally. He's currently 7 laps down. So the points are going to really shake up tonight.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, there's a guy, we're seeing a crash on here. We're going to get a quick replay on this. The 33 of Sherwood Williford. Not sure what's... Oh, and Sherwood blew up. Damage from early on. The engine just gave way. That's going to end the 33's night. That is so unfortunate.
Absolutely, and Sherwood was one of those drivers that really needed a solid night as far as points go. He came into this 28th in points, which is very odd for Sherwood, especially 3 races into the season. He hasn't actually had a top 5 or top 10. I take that back. He's had 1 top 10 this season in 3 races, and obviously he's not going to be able to break that streak tonight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Calvin Miller in that 21, he is also retired for the night. As far as well as Richie Coy in the 19, unfortunately he's had to retire from this evening.
No All right. Well, thank you for those updates. Those are super unfortunate for those guys in what is a heavy field and hard to make it in. And they need every point they can get. Brody Hanna continuing to lead. Ronnie Royal and Claude Ferland. Bobby Terrell and Brian Helm are chasing here. Then it's Vrooman and McMullen not really making the move with the fresher tires we were expecting. Perhaps we miscalculated the tires. I'm not sure. Not sure what's going on with the 71. He was involved in that accident, so who knows how much he actually has there.
Well, he's running comparable laps to our leaders right now. It actually looks like Ronnie Royal is going to be one of the fastest trucks on the lap, as well as Bobby Terrell. But Kiss McMullen's running comparable times to our leader. The problem is, though, is he's about a little bit 3/4 of a second back from the nearest car. So I think it's more a matter of him not being able to utilize the draft to be able to really do anything right now.
Yeah, that could be, and that is one of our keys to the race. It's not much of a draft, but it sure helps to be in it. We're seeing that with Helm and Terrell here as they work together. You see Brian Helm behind Bobby Terrell here, and he's just going to ride and stick on the back of that as we look for that beautiful back end there that Bobby Terrell has on his truck. But yeah, these guys are catching them. They're running the fastest laps out here, I believe. Right now, I think our leader laid down the fastest lap that time around.
Yeah, absolutely is. We complete lap 45. So we know these trucks can do anywhere from 45 to 47. So in all reality, pit stops, that pit window can open within about 10 laps to make it to the end. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody tries any strategy here.
There goes our reigning champion, Brian Helm, past the 4 of Bobby Terrell, as I thought they were going to be content to kind of draft, but nope, Brian Helm ready to make his move. He's going to be up to 4th place now. His sights are set on those top 3.
Yeah, it might be a situation where Helm looked ahead a little bit and thought that Ferland was starting to get away a little bit, decided, hey, I got to get around, I got to try to keep this draft, where I'm sure Bobby was just kind of biding his time. He's probably going to be eyeballing an adjustment here in that truck before too long, as our leaders sit there and they come up on the 8 of Bernard Person and put him another lap down. Bernard obviously in some lap damage and whatnot, as well as the 98, our front runner definitely at the beginning of the night, not having the night he wanted at the end of the day.
Oh, so many guys out here limping around the track. This is just highly unfortunate for those guys. I mean, some of them were top-notch. Torgensen, like you said, on the outside of row number 1, you had the 8 of Bernard Person was coming through the field. Looked like a potential winning car he had there. That's all wrecked up and done tonight. But right now, it's all about Brody Hanna leading this race. And, we've seen him. When he gets out here, this is a 3-time champion in the Truck Series, Brad. When he gets out here and he's got a decent piece, he can drive the wheels off of a machine. He can be very hard to beat. It looks like he's starting to pull away a bit.
Yeah, he's starting to inch out just a little bit, and it's very funny seeing the difference in styles. Brody Hanna obviously in several series across this league overall. Monday night he was in the Cup car in NASCAR running a Homestead Speedway, and he was one of the guys that sat there and he was going to try to do it on fuel mileage. He was really pacing himself, where tonight you see him, he is pedal to the metal all day, and he's trying to just run away with this thing. So the different styles and the different trucks and the different series, it's definitely one of those things that's always interesting to see these competitors, once they get into a different type of vehicle, if you will, how exactly they take their race.
Yeah, it really is. And they do change from, the trucks to the Xfinity cars to the Cup cars. It's always a different race and a different style of handling that you're going to deal with. But Brody Hanna here looking super strong. He continues to lay down lap times. And, he's the fastest guy on the track right now. And he is just pulling away here. Helm still trying to catch Ferland and Royal. And behind him, you got Bobby Terrell fading a bit, and Vrooman is really not gaining much on Terrell either.
Well, we're coming across right now. We completed lap 51, so in about 3 laps, we will be good to go to the green, to the end of this race, if we stay green the entire time. And with this field continuing to be stretched out, with Brody Hanna continuing to push the pace, I would probably think that we will go green for the entire amount of this race. Who's going to be the one that bites for the strategy? I got a pretty good idea that Casey McMullen's going to take it as far as he can, just because he's got the most amount of fuel in the freshest tires. That's not currently helping him right now. He's about 3.5 seconds back. He's actually fading a little bit further. I thought by now he would have caught up to the 00 of Stephen Bruman, but that's not the case. He continues to fade further back. The 03 of Dale Nera is actually starting to gain on him as we got a battle for second place.
Yeah, it looks like Claude Ferland coming underneath Ronnie Royal there. He's going to take that spot, and it looks like he might be beginning to reel in the 23. I'm not sure. We'll get a look in on our last lap times here. I mean, he was in traffic, so it might not be too indicative of how he's running during that lap, but virtually matching about a tenth slower, 2/10 slower than Brody Hanna that lap. We'll see after this lap just how he does.
Well, we know that 44 has been consistent all night. He had the fastest time in qualifying, set third on the grid, so definitely a very fast race truck. It's going to be a matter of how well is that set on the long run.
Yeah, absolutely correct. As we come to the line here, Brody Hanna crosses, Ferland crosses. We'll get these times in. 32:02 for Hanna, 32:04 for Ferland. So they have leveled out here. They're exactly the same times. Hanna with about a second lead. And we'll see how this continues for the next couple laps here.
That's going to be very interesting to see, if you will. You know, 1 and 2, generally the trucks are going to be the same. It's 3 and 4 where you're really able to make up some time on somebody. And if you got a really good truck that can rotate the center of 3 and 4 and come off kind of straight, if you will be able to put the power down, it's going to be really, really good. But at the same time, you know, if you're the 44 of Claude Ferland, you got Ronnie Royal still all over the back door of you. You know, you got Brian Helm right there too. So that's going to definitely add a little bit more to you. You're not going to be able to use the racetrack fully to where you would need to, because you kind of got to protect that line a little.
It looks like all of a sudden Hanna has reasserted himself, playing a blistering sub 32 lap that lap, inching out ever further here. Ferland just cannot do anything about it at this point. As we're on lap 56 of 100 here, pit stops not that far away, Brad. And it also looks like Brian Bliss has retired from the race, so that's unfortunate for Biggie.
Yeah, we know with pit stops looming here, you know, that wreck happened on lap 15, I believe. So we know within the next 10 laps, 10 to 15 laps, these guys are going to have to come to pit road. If you're somebody like Brody Hanna, you know, you got 1.2 second lead and continuing to stretch it out. You would think that you just want to keep running it, you know, gain as much time as you want. But the one thing you do have to worry about is that undercut, because once these guys come out, they will be running 2 seconds a lap faster than you. So you almost want to undercut it yourself to take any type of strategy away from these guys as you can.
Someone who seems to be coming is the 03 of Daniel Nerad. Get a look in on his times, a 32:17. Our leader's pushing down a 32:12. So he is right there. You know, one of the fastest trucks on the track, right behind Casey McMullen now.
Yeah, he's really been doing well. You know, he's been making up time on Casey McMullen. Casey McMullen, again, we know has the best tires and the most amount of fuel in this field. But right now, it doesn't matter. That 03 of Dale Nerad, it seems like his truck has got right in that sweet spot where he needs it to really start making these fast lap times. As we go back up front, you know, again, the battle is between second and third. You know, right there, we got Claude Ferland. We got the 24, Ronnie Royal, Brian Helm. It seems like Bobby Terrell just hasn't been able to do anything. He's currently about 0.7 of a second back, and then a long way back until you get to Stephen Vrooman, as Casey McMullen is actually caught onto the back of Vrooman. So that's going to be another 3-car battle currently for the 6th position.
Yeah, Vrooman's starting to fade a bit as McMullen coming on, Nerad's coming on. I mean, we're getting down. If you got anything left, it's time to use it here. Pit stops are imminent here. We're talking at 5 laps maybe, and I mean, if you were to split it in half, we're within 4 to 5 laps as Nerad looks to the inside of McMullen here.
Yeah, we're hearing something that Vrooman had a little bit of a problem, and McMullen actually jumped out of the throttle, kind of gave him a little bit of slack there, and Nerad's going to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I mean, never known a racer who wouldn't capitalize. Looks like McMullen going to do the crossover, come back underneath. So McMullen looking to take that spot right back. Can't quite do it though.
It sounds like I'm hearing that we got pit stops coming. The 96 is going to come this time. The 91 is also going to be coming in. So pit stops are starting. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what the 23 does when he comes to pit road versus the top 5.
Yeah, we see a few of the guys in. Hannah continuing out there. I don't think Hannah's be coming in anytime soon. He's got a nice comfortable lead, building it up and building it up more and more. Now looking like 1.8 seconds, so he is really starting to stretch it out here on Claude Ferland. And in is Ronnie Royal and Bobby Terrell. Here comes Casey McMullen.
Yep, 71 Casey McMullen's in, and you know he had the best tires out of everybody and everything. So they're going to play this strategy. I think Brody Hanna will be in within the next lap or 2 at most. He's not going to give these guys too much time on pit road.
Well, one of the interesting things about Hanna I always bring up is his ability to get on and off of pit road. It's one of the best that there's ever been at it, and it'd be interesting, you know, this is not a particularly tough pit road as Claude Ferland comes in. So we got him and Jolly are both in.
Yeah, Hanna continues to circle this track, if you will. You know, he did not decide to go to pit road then, so it's going to be very interesting to see how much the time of somebody like a Ronnie Royal or Casey McMullen actually makes up on Brody Hanna as he continues to ride around this racetrack about 1.5 to 2 seconds slower. It looks like he's going to try to get to pit road this time here.
And you see just how hard he pushed that on entrance. Another perfect entrance for that 23, Brody Hanna. I mean, I find him so impressive on pit road. There's Furlong down and away. He's coming out. We go back to Hanna, who's just coming in now. Rupert's coming down pit road as well. Brody Hanna on pit road. Brian Helm still out here, now leading the race, going to get a point. We see his entrance, and that was a pretty decent entrance its own right there. Hanna down and away though. He's going to be coming around. Helm's going to be hard pressed to do anything about it. Nearad now your new leader. The 03, that Oreo machine, part of Bandit Racing, our race leader.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see right here. You're going to have the 4 Bobby Turrell coming out off of the exit to 2. That's going to be really the race that we're looking for as far as our leaders.
And there comes Dale Nearad now.
Looks like Brody Hanna was able to get out in front of the 4. So another successful round of pit stops for that 23.
This is going to bring the 20 of Russell Charneski around. He's going to be your new race leader. If he can get by Dale Nearad is in the pit. So the 20 from Wheeling and Dealing Racing going to be the race leader after taking several months off, having some issues, some medical issues. Wow, is this great to see. You know, our other race on the track, though, is Hanna. Ferland has managed to make up time through that pit stop. He's to the bumper of him. I'm so surprised. Hanna came in so good. Must have been something else on pit road to slow Hanna down. He has now got the 44 of Claude Ferland right on his bumper, our point leader.
Yeah, and Ferland drove an excellent race so far. You know, he hasn't really he was the only one not to let the 23 really get away from him, but he's really got to close this distance now because he's not going to have the help of anybody behind him pushing for that draft. You know, Bobby Trail is way too far back, so he's got to really try to close the distance on the 23 if he's going to have any chance of this.
Well, and you see out of all the guys in the top there, it's Hanna on lap 63 with the best tires, other than if you go back to 7th and 8th with his Helm and Nearad. So Ferland, 1 lap older tires. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it's going to add up.
No, it certainly will. I mean, you look at somebody like Casey McMullen, I think he went in 7th position. Look at Brian Helm, he went in leading. He's currently back in 7th position, so there was a little bit of leapfrogging there. And with the amount of laps left on this race, I'm not sure that there's that much as far as tire wear. You know, we know these guys get 15 to 20 laps probably of a full throttle, if you will. and then they got to start undulating the throttle to make sure they get that nose set of that truck to get it to the corner. So there's not a whole lot of fall off, if you will, for at least 15-20 laps.
Yeah, they're probably, you're right on that one, but it'll show up a little bit later on. Right now, Brian Helm back here in 7th place, really not looking like he's making any great moves. In front of him, Stephen Vrooman, and you got Casey McMullen up to 5th now. He's got Ronnie Royal ahead of him. Then it's Bobby Terrell. And then you got to go up a couple of seconds and catch Claude Ferland and Brody Hanna, our race leader.
But if you're Claude Ferland, I mean, don't get me wrong, you want the win, but this is a win no matter what. I mean, you're gaining time, and you're gaining positions on all of the people around you for the championship. So you got to really start asking yourself, big picture, little picture. If you can't win, you damn sure want to finish 2nd place.
Yeah, this is, and the other thing is you're new to a league. So the 44 has now established himself. I mean, he did last week. He did the week before. He's done it every week. But, people just don't know him yet. They're not believing yet. Well, I got to tell you, folks, it's time to believe in the 44, Claude Ferland. This man can drive. He knows what he's doing. He's our point leader sitting here in 2nd. Going to open up more if he can maintain this spot. And he's not content. He's still hunting the 23-year Brody Hanna.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 2nd in points right now. You got Michael Blackner, you got Steve Allen. All right, he's out. Blackner, he's currently 12.5 seconds back in 12th position. Carr, he's pretty much out. Torgerson, he's out. Menace Rickner, one of his teammates, 13th. Kevin Rupert, 14th. So it's a great points day. I mean, the person he's battling for the lead, Brody Hanna, he's 13 in points, 25 points back. He's not going to leave a lot on the table as far as losing to him as far as points. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, that 44 would love to be able to lock himself into the playoffs.
Absolutely he would, as you never know how many different winners we're going to have this year with 40 trucks out here, some highly talented guys. Unfortunately, a lot of them taken out early in this race. Right now, a little battle heating up between, it looks like Terrell, Royal, and McMullen as they battle between 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot.
Yeah, Ronnie Roll and Casey McMullen has actually been able to run down the 4 of Bobby Terrell. I think the 24 is probably the quickest out of this 3. As he was actually behind McMullen, he was able to run down McMullen and get around him. McMullen kind of in tow right now. I think Bobby Terrell might be just kind of trying to save everything. He knows the deal. He's not going to make up over 2.5 seconds on a track like this. Early in this run, he has to save his tires if he's going to be able to do it later in the run.
25 to go. You're looking on someone like Brian Helm, who was pitted a little bit later than everybody, and he fall back quite a bit, Brad. I don't know if he's going to make up this time. He's now 2.7 seconds behind McMullen for 5th place.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make up the time as far as getting up there to do a major battle. My biggest threat right now is, the cars in front of him. Casey McMullen, he's already starting to lose touch with the 24 and the 4, so he may fall into the clutches of Brian Helm before this thing's over, but I got to really think that Helm's not going to get much better than that.
Yeah, just doesn't seem to have the long run staying ability under that 71, but a nice night in 5th place for him. But Ronnie Royal doing heavy battle right now with Bobby Terrell, and I'm not sure who's better. These guys seem quite evenly matched out here. Let's hop on board with Ronnie Royal here and see what he sees from behind Bobby Terrell.
I think he's getting mesmerized with that tailgate right now. He's just kind of hanging in the back. You see he gets a little bit better of an entry, a little lower of an entry, if you will. Not necessarily better, but you see that hurts him on exit, where Terrell's going in just a little bit higher, and he's able to arc it and get that apex a little bit better. Where Ronnie's going to go in just a little bit earlier. He's going to have to kind of cut it down earlier, and it's really losing him on the exit.
seems like you hear the tires squealing out here. Just seems like there's a little, not enough grip here for these guys, and they're really like using up these tires quickly.
Yeah, this will be really interesting as they start running up on the lap traffic here. So they're going to have to really pick and choose their moves. Not going to have a whole lot to go around as they're going to make their way by the 13 on the inside. They're going to go to the apron and they're going to come up, and you're going to see Terrell. He's going to take a much smoother line, a little bit higher arcing. He's going to really hit the center of the corner where you're going to have Ronnie. See, right here is where he doesn't get it. He was pretty good that time, but Terrell was not able to use the whole racetrack like he's done the last few times.
Terrell doing a nice job, though, of holding them off here. You talked about, like, when he did have room there, that smoother entry. It's kind of what Bobby's known for, Brad. A very smooth driver, very hard to pass.
It just saves his tires just that much more. And, he gives you about half the distance you need. And if you just had another 2 foot, you'd be able to make that pass happen. But you just got to pedal it just ever so slightly. And, it's just frustrating as a racer. You're being right there. You're so close, but you just can't do it. And you really got to, kind of tip your hat off to it. As we kind of go up a little bit further up the road here, and, we're going to be on Claude Ferland. Seems like he's starting to lose a little bit of time. It's actually, you go back to the 24. The 24 is going to be the inside right now of Bobby Terrell, finally making that work.
There he is, fighting with Bobby Terrell for that spot. Can't get the run off. The 4 going to beat him down into 3. We're going to see here how we get through 3 and 4. Bobby's got the clear track here. He's going to cut down in front of him and maintain that spot as this continues to rage on.
And that's going to be the closest battle on this track until you get to about 10th with Andrew Pollocky and Jeff Bratton. So continue to follow this Ford truck in the 24 battle. Ahead of that, you're going to have Claude Ferland and Brody Hanna. They're kind of trading lap times, if you will, about half a second distance between the two of them. So nothing really happening, not nearly as close as this battle currently on the track.
These two still battling. Let's give Brody Hanna his due out here, looking sharp in that 23 machine, part of Fury Motorsports, the 3-time champion, leading this race, starting to stretch it out just a little bit here as he gets up to about a half second. I mean, he can't completely shake Claude Ferland, but he's doing a great job out front, Brad.
No, he really is. I think Ferland's actually found something a little bit because he had a little bit more of a gap on him. He's actually been able to close the gap, not by much. I mean, you're talking about a 10th here. You see right there, he was 0.003 of a second quicker that time. So it's kind of interesting. And you see the lines change between the two of them. Ferland was running pretty much the exact same line as the 23. He's kind of changed it up a little bit, found a little bit of speed. It's just this small increment. It's going to take him 10 laps to even make up 4/10, and once he gets there, what is he going to do?
That's going to be the big key as we're on 17 to go, looking at 16 to go. We'll check in here. We got our lap history up as we've seen Ferland faster 4 out of 5 laps. Again, another 0.2 here, or not quite, 0.002 of a second. So he's inching up there, Brad.
Yeah, it's just not enough. I mean, maybe if you get Brody in a situation where he gets trapped behind a lap car, or just gets the nose taken away or the line taken away or something like that, he'll be right there. But right now he's just not making enough headway essentially to really close in. And I don't know if it's a matter of tire wear and that could be it. But right now he's just got to kind of hope for something or Brody to make a mistake.
Yeah, and he just in that one lap lost everything he made up over the previous 4. So very hard to maintain those kind of small increments there. But he's got a little lap traffic coming up. We'll see what he can do. Got to love the effort, though, out of Claude Ferland, our points leader.
Yeah, and don't look now. That race for 3rd place is now a 4-truck field. As Casey McMullen was able to climb up. Brian Helm actually able to get up there and get around Casey McMullen as he's going to close in on the back of the 4. And Bobby Terrell seems like Helm's kind of the fastest of the trucks right here, running a totally different line. You see him running the outside where everybody else is on the bottom.
Yeah, Helm matching our leaders' times here, and he played that strategy game. We thought he fell way too far back, but here he is showing his muscle late in this round. Brian Helm coming to the front as he gets by Bobby Terrell after passing Casey McMullen, now into fourth, looking ahead at Ronnie Royal.
Yeah, him with a tremendous amount of speed. You know, we're coming in on 12 laps to go, and I think he'll definitely be able to get by Royal if he continues to speed. I don't think he's going to have enough to get to our top two. I think that's pretty much a race between the two of them, with the exception of a caution or anything like that. But definitely a strategy that is working out right now for Brian Helm in that 26.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came in third, maybe third or fourth, so it's definitely, at least status quo, maybe gaining a spot, so the strategy is working. It took a long time to work, though.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. These races don't end short, so you got the whole race. You got to run all the laps, so it doesn't really matter if you get it quick or if it takes you a little bit longer. At the end of the day, you get the position, you get the points, and Brian Helm, no stranger to points. Our defending champion right now, and he's definitely putting up that effort, showing that why exactly he was a champion.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, the difference in strategies, the difference in setups, perhaps, Brad. Guys racing out there, other guys coming late in the run. We've seen that in the Cup Series as well. It makes for very dynamic racing. You got to choose your strategy and choose wisely.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get very many mulligans here, especially in a league like this where, tonight we've had one caution. Last week, did we even have a caution? I mean, there's so many green flag races here. You got to really go in. You got to know what you got to do. You got to practice it. You got to be perfect on your pit stops. You got to be everything, because every single thing you lose time. You lose time. You overrun your pit box. You lose time to your competitors. There is no reset. There is no, okay, well, now I can get on the same strategy or anything like that. You screw up from the get-go and you're behind the 8 ball. There's no getting it back.
You're exactly right on that one. Right now, Brody Hanna starting to extend the lead here as he's seeing him now moving away from Claude Ferland. He's gained a couple of more tenths here since we walked away from him. We'll go back to that battle between Helm and Ronnie Royal.
Continue to see Helm kind of work that top side, getting a little bit better run, especially down the backstretch here, being able to close right in. But here's where the difference is. He's not able to get through 3 and 4 as clean as the 24. 24 a little bit higher on the racetrack, able to carry more speed. It seems like Helm's kind of pinching it to the bottom. As I said, he's going to dive it down to the bottom of the apron, try to cut the corner and try to pull even. This will be different because Helm will be on the bottom where he's going to run on the top side.
Definitely a little different. You see he struggles to get all the way to the bottom there, pushing Royal up the track a little bit. Ronnie holding on as hard as he can, trying to fight him off, but we got a lap car up here as well. This could help Helm get this spot that put him up to third spot now. Behind them, it's Casey McMullen working on Bobby Terrell now as he looks to grab fifth spot away from the 4 truck.
Casey McMullen slowly, methodically working his way through. He's going to be on the bottom. He's going to have the preferred line, especially with that lap truck still on the top side. 71 going to be able to clear the 4. We're going to be able to try to work on the 24 as we go a little bit down the backstretch here.
So he's got him. So put McMullen now up to 5th, as apparently, you never know what these guys are doing. We've seen him fade off that battle with Helm and Royal, or Terrell and Royal, I should say, at one point, and now he's coming back. Maybe he learned from that first run. You got to save some for the end of this run. And I tell you, a guy who really knows what he's doing, that's our leader, Brody Hanna. Now out to a 1.4 second lead as late in this run, that truck really showing its muscle.
Yeah, it really is. The 44 Claude Ferland starting to really lose a little bit of distance. He's losing about 2 to 3 tenths a lap right now. Just not able to keep pace with him. He lost another 2 tenths that lap right there. So I think we're at the end of the 44's tires. He's been running the bottom the entire time, just really trying to do a valiant effort and stay right there with Brody Hanna. Brody Hanna continuing to stretch his lead out right now. The biggest thing he can do is just conserve his equipment, just kind of manage that gap, not try to run away from him. But just make sure that he makes it to the end here as we're closing in on about 4 laps to go.
coming down to 4 to go here. Brody Hanna leading this race. Brian Helm having a hard time holding on after he came up through the field. He's got Royal on the outside. Here comes McMullen. I mean, Bobby Terrell right there too, as we got a 4-way race for second, or for third, I should say.
Now, you know what they say, it doesn't matter until it's time to cash that check, and that time's coming soon. So business is definitely picking up here for this third position.
Is it ever, as we see McMullen desperately trying to get up there, but now Terrell back into the mix. This is what happens. You get pinched down low, lose that momentum, and you don't just lose the guy in front of you. The guy behind you comes up and wants to pass you. These guys are fighting tooth and nail as Brody Hanna continues to stretch out front.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you get pitched down low like that, you know, you burn a lot of tire, believe it or not. You can get very loose. You're not able to get back to the throttle. Really kills your straightaway speed, everything like that. So just one bad corner can really, you know, do a number on your momentum through the entire time. At 71's able to clear back to the 4, but he's not going to be close enough to get to that 26, not yet. And he's still going to have the 4 on the outside.
Yeah, you still can't clear him enough for that entry he wants. He's got to enter a little lower, slow down a little bit more, and rotate through that corner. Very tough. Bobby Terrell fighting back on the outside. What a job by the 4 truck.
It's going to be very interesting here with all the lap traffic that these guys are coming to, whether or not he's going to be able to clear them.
Yeah, there's a ton of lap traffic here, really hurting Bobby here, who can't extend up to the wall the way he wants. Doing a great job, though. They're nose and tail at the line. Run our final lap. Brody Hanna coming around. He's going to take this victory with 2 more corners here.
He's run a great race tonight. You know, top 5 starting position. Really made his way to the front early as we're coming off the 4.
Yeah, Brody Hanna going to be victorious here in the Las Vegas 150, I believe. And there's Claude Ferland coming second. Ronnie Royal. Here comes Brian Helm. Bobby Terrell fighting and holding off the 71 of Casey McMullen. He'll take 5th. Dale Nearad will come home 6th. Stephen Vrooman will be in 8th. It's going to be Jolly 9th. Bratton 10th. Blackner going to be your 11th place finisher. Pilecki, Riche, Rupert, you got Ballard, and that's going to be, I think, your lead lap cars. But it was Brody Hanna tonight, Brad. Brody Hanna all night. I mean, he got loose there early on, but we didn't see another bobble out of him all night long. And he just, as the run went on, man, he just extended this thing, a dominating performance from the Gladiator 23.
No, he really did. He had a great night, you know, solid. I don't want to say mistake-free, but definitely close to it. I think the biggest thing is, and, you know, we watched it live, Brody Hanna come into pit road, got every single thing he could, and I think that was a really big difference. He was able to not even be able to get out in front of the guys that pitted a lap earlier than to have better exit pit strategy, everything like that, but just getting to pit road aggressively like that and spending the least amount of time on entry, pit road, and exit, that made huge dividends for him.
Yeah, it really did. He had a great pit stop as well, and just a dominating performance there. Give you a shout out to the 44, Claude Ferland, really establishing himself in this league as well with another second place finish. As Brody trying the crab walk down the straightaway here, really quite an impressive burnout. I love that crab walk there. Excellent job on the burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the 44 Claude Ferland, you know, he's shown he's here to stay. You know, super speedway, road course, half mile. It's going to be a very interesting and very hard season to get that lead away from him.
Man, it is. I mean, he's showing he's going to be tough all year. But right now, let's take another look at the Bristol Dirt Car as part of that Cup Series as they transform that track there. When we come back, we'll have interviews with our top 3 finishers. right, welcome back. Where Brody Hanna has won the Las Vegas 150 here in the Blackwater Products USA Truck Series, part of Full Throttle Sim Racing. What a show he put on. I mean, he did it all right. We talked about it all night long, and just a masterful job. Let's get a look in at our race results here. You can see Hannah there winning, Claude Ferland second, Royal, Helm, and Terrell with top fives, and it's McMullen, Nearrad, Vrooman, sorry, Jolly, Bratton in your top 10. Looking further back, you got Blackner, who made a nice recovery. He was having a heck of a day, high up in the points. What a recovery to finish 11th. Andrew Palicki going to be in 12th. Riche, Rupert, Ballard, Shoemaker, Schultz, Tarneski up there. Nice for him to be back here racing with us. See some of the other names here as we look through this field here. Tim Bell's a rough night. Torgensen, Pearson involved in early wrecks. Carr, Spear, Miller, Elder, all these guys involved in the early carnage.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a night where some of these guys going into the points, going into this particular race, they're going to wish they had this one back. It's definitely going to shake up everything in the points. So, but that's why we run these races, and that's why we got plenty of them. Definitely one of those nights that some of the guys are going to win it back, but good points nights for others.
Yeah, we look in on the points there. We updated so they don't show the gain there tonight. But Brody Hanna making big gains, moves up to third in the points. Ferland maintains his point lead, actually extends it now, a 16-point lead over Michael Blackner, who recovers from this race somehow, some way, with 11th place finish, stays in second place in the points. Riche fights out. He's going to be in fourth. Royal, you got Rupert, Jolly, Torgensen, and Allen, and Carr round out the top 10 as some of these rookies continue to stay in the top 10 in points, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. We started the night with 6 in the top 11. I think we're down to 4, if you will. So the rookies are starting to fade a little bit. Maybe tonight is not a good representation of it because of the carnage we had early. But definitely one of those things where the veterans in this league are starting to kind of show. And, we kind of figured that was going to happen, especially when you get to a mile and a half. But you know what? There's going to be those surprises. There's going to be those great surprises. You look at Claude Ferland, you look at Mannix Richer, both, having good runs tonight and solidifying themselves in the top 5.
Absolutely. As we get into our post-race coverage here, let's get our third place finisher in here, Mr. Ronnie Royal. Ronnie Royal in the 24, third place here at Las Vegas tonight. A hard-fought third place. Congratulations, Ronnie.
Thanks. Just I guess call that one being at the right place at the right time. I guess missing that big incident, which took out a lot of competitors, a lot of good drivers got involved in that.
Yeah, man, that was a tough thing. We've seen it all. It's we've lived through it, Ronnie. You lived through it somehow, some way, and here you are at third place. Let's talk more about the racing on the track, where you had a lot of competition around you fighting for those spots. You had Brian, you had Bobby Terrell up there, Casey was up there, you had other Furland you were fighting with, Dale Nearad at different times. I mean, lots of guys around you. You managed to hold them all off and take third. You must feel pretty good about the third place tonight.
Yeah, I felt good with what we had through the week working on the set, and this is good track for me anyway. I enjoy Las Vegas, and I just felt confident going into it. And big thing here now with this series, a lot of good drivers. You got 40 to 45 drivers that can be very competitive, and you've got to qualify toward the front. That's first step of any of these races now.
Yeah, exactly. That is tough. You got to be in that top 20 in points or qualify your way in. We look forward, or we look ahead, if you will, to Homestead down in Miami Speedway there. What do you think about Homestead? Do you like the track? Are you looking forward to going there?
It's not my favorite, but we'll work on it and do the best we can. I'm at the end of the day just looking for if I can click off top tens, I'll be happy. Honestly, just points, keep points racing, and hopefully a win will come. I've had one or two in the series, and I'm looking for that. Consistency pays off, hopefully.
Yeah, well, we love it. We've been noticing lately that we haven't been noticing you lately, which is great. If you're not noticed that much up in the cam booth, it means you're doing a lot of things right. And we've seen it tonight. You're just keeping that thing clean, racing your race, taking what the truck gives you, and getting a nice points finish here tonight. You've been consistently doing that across all three series. We think you're a top-notch driver. You're definitely going to get some wins this year, Ronnie, and we look forward to when you do. But for tonight, congratulations on third place. Man, the floor is yours. Any shout outs, any thanks you want to give?
Always FTSR league, great league, a lot of good drivers in here. One of the most competitive leagues I've run in quite a while, and think you guys in the booth, you do an excellent job broadcasting the race, and then the commentary you give is excellent. And just thank my teammates. We work a lot of time on the sets, and as long as everybody does as well. But it's good, to have a good run when you put some time into the process.
All right, Brad, that's Ronnie Royal there, our second place finisher. What a great night he had. I mean, just fighting off those guys. But you got one other. I think you're down there with our points leader.
Oh, absolutely. I'm down here with our points leader. I'm going to have to say this is the second time this year I've had the pleasure of being here with the driver of the 44 car of the Accent LED racing machine. That's going to be Claude Ferland. Claude, second place finish tonight. Continue your streak as the points leader. How's it feel, brother?
Yes, I feel very fine. It's very hot.
Well, it was a very exciting race tonight. You gridded on third place tonight. You were able to come home second, so one better of the night. But kind of talk us through it. I mean, especially, that early incident, where was your viewpoint as far as being right in the middle of it, all of it?
Yes, my setup is a little bit loose after the 30, 35 lap, but I think the setup is very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something we noticed up here in the booth. As soon as you started going, you fired out of that thing like a cannon. Right on the back of somebody. You had Brody Hanna right railing for a little while. As that run went on, it seemed that the tires started to go away. You started to lose a little bit of grip in them. Started to kind of to falter a little bit and give away a little bit of time. Is that something that maybe an adjustment could have made? If obviously we do a lot of green flag racing here at FTSR Racing and whatnot, so. Um, is there anything you think you could have had from Brody Hanna had you been able to get a little bit more of an adjustment on the race car?
Oh, sorry, my English is very bad. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
No, not a problem at all. Hey, next week we're going to go to Homestead Miami Speedway. Is that a track that you're looking forward to going to?
Homestead is a track differently and a little bit short. I love the 1.5 miles or two, but 1 mile in my my car, my conduit, it's little bit not good.
All right, well, that's definitely going to be one of those things we're going to be looking forward to watching you. So far you've been a very pleasant surprise here in Full Throttle Sim Racing. Definitely a driver to watch through every week so far. I spoke to you earlier coming out of Daytona. You said, the road course wasn't one of those things you were looking forward to, but you had a great run there. Another great run here at Las Vegas. We're looking forward to seeing you next week at Homestead. I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, let you thank any type of sponsors, anybody who helped you out tonight.
Yes, thank you for my sponsor, Sylvain Joly, Accent LED, and the companies in Quebec, Canada. Thank you.
All right, Claude. Well, we appreciate that, and congratulations on our second place finish. But you know what? Right now, we're standing by with the man of the hour. I believe Dean's with him now.
Yeah, I'm down in victory lane with a 23 Gladiator machine, Mr. Brody Hanner, tonight's winner of the Las Vegas 150. Congratulations, Brody.
Oh, thanks, guys. That's a weight off my shoulder, man. It's hard to win these things. It's a long time coming, and man, was that truck hooked up tonight. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, it looked good. It looked good short run. It looked good long run. It was really quite impressive how you were able to get through that. Let's start at the beginning, get that out of the way. There's the early incident there. We've seen you get a little bit loose there on the bottom side. Was it just the tires weren't warmed up, or a little bit of scare maybe from Claude Ferland, the Frenchman there?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what happened there. We were talking about that in the waiting room there, and I still don't know what happened because it never did that in any of the practice runs, anything. I mean, and I wasn't really pushing all that hard, unless it was the fact that Claude was right there on my bumper. I got to tell you that he probably didn't say it on the broadcast, but I got to tell you this. This is hilarious. He said when that happened, my eyes got wide and my ass got tight.
You gotta love it, man. Claude chasing you down there during these runs. Now, you get out there in the first run, you get out to a nice lead there as we go along. But, during the second run, you come in. I thought you had a great pit stop. It looked like it. But after the pit stops, he'd pitted one lap earlier. I guess that might be it. But he's right on your bumper again.
Hey, listen, I gotta get Claude all the credit in the world, man. He is top notch. He could have run me over there when I got sideways. He was able to check up there, stay with me all night. He's the real deal, man. That's why he's leading the points. So I got to give him a ton of credit there. I did have a good pit stop, and I had one lap fresher tires on him, but he kept me honest the whole time there. So awesome job by him, and I'm glad to see him having such a successful season.
Yeah, we couldn't agree more. We talked about a lot in the booth. There's a lot of skepticism around rookies in particular, and Claude leading the points. Like, oh, was it just Daytona? Was it the road course? I mean, he has proven week in and week out he is here to stay. He's going to be someone you're going to be fighting all year long. But Brody, there's a guy on the track. It's you, man. You had it all tonight, man. What a great job. Just so impressive. Talk a little bit about your team and how they help out this week and what it means to be working with some guys who really want to put in the effort and the time.
I'm glad you said that because I do have to give credit to Richie Coy, Jared Carr, and I'm going to miss guys, Michael Blackner, Joe Flanagan, all the guys who we're working with on the alliance with. I'm going to mispronounce his team, but those guys are putting the work in and it's so good that it finally came together. But gotta thank those guys for sure for putting the time and the effort in, working on these setups, man. It just came together tonight, and it's good every now and then for things just to fall into place where you're able to get one of these wins because like I said, these things are hard to come by, and so this is going to be treasured for a long time.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. Here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, stacked fields. These wins really mean something, man. And you got a hard fought one here. Claude didn't let you get away. You had other contenders. A couple guys too got taken out. We're not sure what they had, but all in all, Brody, I thought you were this dominating performance. Not just a truck or a setup. You drove it excellent. You like this track. I've seen you drive very well here before, and just a big congrats, man. What a fantastic victory. And you pretty much thanked everybody, but maybe you got a couple more on your list.
Well, I had to look it up, but Randy McKinney as well. All the guys that take two with Jared, Randy, all those guys, I got to thank them. Everybody at Fury Motorsports, Coy E Racing, and Richie Coy, all the work that those guys are putting into. Got to thank Gladiator Garage Works and Ford. I got to tell you, this is the third win in a row for our little alliance, so that's awesome. Doing a great job there, and as always, thank you guys, Full Throttle TV for broadcasting. And got to thank our title sponsor, Blackwater Products USA. Awesome to have everybody on board, and awesome that we've had an awesome racing season so far, and it's only going to get better.
It really is. And Brody, you're welcome to hang out or you're welcome to leave and go celebrate with us. But Brad, what a performance by the 23 and what a performance again by Full Throttle Sim Racing. I mean, this league in general, just green flag racing, top-notch guys, up and down the lineup. You never know who's going to win.
No, you really don't. I mean, and that's pretty much why we do this every week in and week out. I kind of misspoken earlier. This was the fourth race of the season, so we did start off with the new points. Top 20 was locked in, but that didn't matter here. You know, we're at Vegas, and you know what we're going to do when we end this race? We're going to reshuffle that deck. Ironically, it's going to be a whole new band of players next week that are going to be locked in going into Homestead Miami Speedway, and that's going to be another race where it's going to be a real racer's job, a real racer's track. You know, you're going to be on the top side, you're going to be on the bottom side. You know, the one thing that we'll expect is a lot of green flag racing, a lot of hard competitive racing, and FTSR to really rise to the occasion.
Yeah, great points. And Brody, you're still here, so I'll bring up a couple of things you got coming up here in the truck series in particular. You've got Lakeland, okay, USA International Speedway. You got North Wilkesboro on the schedule as well. Those are going to be great. And I'll throw you another one from the Cup Series. We got Bristol Dirt, and it doesn't look bad at all.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here. We're going to go to some different tracks that some of these guys may have not seen any. I guess in these trucks or cars, maybe it's going to be a lot of fun. Visit some of the short tracks we kind of miss out on in the official series. And yeah, so Bristol Dirt, that's going to be an interesting thing too with the trucks in the Cup Series. It's going to be something because it's something nobody has really ran before, and we're going to be coming up on it pretty quick. So, looking forward to it, man. Going to have some interesting. I mean, that's going to be a wild card race. Kind of, you're going to see some new guys that you maybe not see otherwise run up front, contend for wins, and hell, that's going to be another guy locked into the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be a stacked field for the playoffs for sure.
It really is. I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to show it here on Full Throttle TV, as we'll be here every Wednesday night covering the Blackwater Products USA Series. Of course, tomorrow night we got the Indy Series from the ESRA. That's the Elite Sim Racing Association. Great series there. Come and check that out. Monday night we got the Dark Matter Designs Cup Series, my apologies, where we'll have Bristol Dirt later in the season. That's a fantastic series. And I skipped over Sunday night. Don't forget the Clash Series, again with ESRA. Fantastic. So a full lineup here on Full Throttle. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Brad Patterson, and for tonight's winner, Brody Hanna, that's going to wrap it up. And we'll see you here